everybody tell you different. Ain't nothing wrong with being a little different. If everybody was the same, that'd be a little different. You gonna be good or gonna be great, you gotta.
Hello, and welcome to the second episode of Keeping It Real with GB, a platform that was created to allow people to give their testimonies and in hopes that it could help someone else by being open and transparent. On today's episode, we are going to have another discussion about self-esteem, only this time with the beautiful Queen Corinthian. You guys stay tuned. This is going to be exciting. Hello, and welcome to Keeping It Real with GB. This is the beautiful Queen, Miss Corinthian, and how are you today?
I'm well, GB. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for hopping on. I really appreciate it. So, you chose the topic self-esteem, which is something that I think that we all suffer with privately. So I thank you for being open and transparent with us today.
No problem. I'm here to lay it all out.
Yes, okay. I would first like to know what made you choose that topic.
Well, honestly, because I feel like it's something that you never get over. I don't feel like it's something that somebody say I've conquered self-esteem. You're gonna still every now and then have that self-chatter going on in your mind about what you don't have or what you don't look like or who you haven't become yet. We always gonna have that self-chatter. So it's something that I feel like a lot of people struggle with on a daily basis. And just knowing how far I've came through different things that I've done to build up my self-worth and my self-esteem.
Okay. So was there, I'm sure there was, but can you tell us about a time where you realized that you had some issues that you needed to work on?
Ooh, girl, do you want me to go there? Okay. No, honestly, you know what? Just reflecting on my childhood, like how I grew up and the circles that I have been a part of, the things that I even let myself expose to, such as different activities and things like that. I just learned as I got older that I was making decisions, like all type of decisions based on how I felt about myself, right? So when it came to friends, it would be like, well, you have to be a certain way in order to fit in with this crowd. So be a certain way, be that person. Or you don't fit their status quo. So you have to pretend to be that you are. And like just things like that, constantly growing up. That's why to this day, I find that because I'm no longer that person trying to fit in, my friend circle has gotten really small. Because now I know my worth. I know what I bring to the table. I don't have to pretend to be or try to fit in. I know who I am. I know my worth. But let's think of a situation, girl, so many of them. Let's say relationships. I'll say that I've been with the same person now for quite some time, off and on. But prior to that, and even in the beginning of that relationship, I was accepting things that I know that I probably shouldn't have accept. And because I didn't have that self power, that inner self power or that inner self love, I'll say, I didn't have that at the time to say, you know what, I'm not going to tolerate this, or no, I'm done, or no, I'm walking away. I didn't have that at that time. So that's just one example. I'm sure there's many more.
I mean, that was a good example, and it resonated with me. I'm sitting up here like she is so right. When it comes to relationships, we will, take a lot off of someone. And what I learned is that, especially when you're working on self-love, that we have to be examples. We have to show people how to treat us by setting boundaries. And it's just certain things that, you're not going to tolerate. But when dealing with, low self-esteem and not really loving yourself, you'll accept anything.
Anything.
Ah,
Absolutely.
Mm,
Anything. But yeah, setting boundaries is so important as well. I was listening to a message this morning. Michael Todd
okay.
from a transformational church, and he's doing this big series on relationship goals. You know, how we create these lists, and we want this person to be this way, or even our future. We want to be married by this time. We want to have this at this time, and when it don't work out, we're upset. But it wasn't God's plan. So even with that, you have to learn to set boundaries, set specific boundaries just for yourself. And whatever is meant for you will align and come into your life. And right now, or for the past couple of years, I feel like I have done a decent job at setting up boundaries. Things I'm not going to tolerate from anybody, family, friends. Um, and I also set up boundaries with what I let into my eyes and my mind.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm not listening to everything. I'm not feeding myself everything because it look good or it tastes good. So we have to start on those small, like taking those small baby steps to set up those boundaries. And yet it may look small at the moment, but after a while it creates this big, like this huge standard. So for example, let's just say food, okay? Um, Especially like what's going on now in the world, we have to be more conscious about what we're putting in our body. So that's just one that's just one aspect of inner beauty, or working on yourself and your self-esteem, because it's setting up boundaries. So everything works together. So what you're eating, what are you watching on TV, what are you listening to, all these things create that self-chatter. It create a certain energy. And so I had to learn to let's just move some things around just a little bit. Let's take some baby steps. And then after a while, that always creates a boundary that you will have and set for yourself.
You mentioned the chatter. So I know for me, I acknowledge the chatter. And sometimes I'll have dialogue with that chatter.
Okay.
What advice could you give somebody that's struggling with, that negative chatter? Like, what could they do with that?
Okay, so first of all, I feel that we all have self chatter. I feel like it can come from, let's say, too much social media, what you're watching on TV, all that stuff have an effect on how we feel and think about ourselves. So the first thing I would say is you have to rewrite that chatter. So you may have to sit down and rewrite who you really are, or the things that you want to hear. You may have to get in the mirror and say it to yourself. Post sticky notes around the bathroom, because what happens is, or your house, what happens is our subconscious mind picks up everything that's around us. So if I'm brushing my teeth and I see a note on the mirror that says you are amazing, subconsciously I'm going to believe I am amazing. But I have to continuously see those things. I just can't do it for one day and think on tomorrow I'm gonna feel better. You may feel better for a few hours on tomorrow, but that talk is gonna come back. So you have to put daily deposits into that area of building up your self-esteem. You have to. And what happens when we keep putting in a deposit, we get it back in much more, back in return. So you have to be intentional about that. Feeding yourself what you want to hear, whether it's by writing, journaling, sticky notes, maybe even doing the self voice, hi, I am this, I am that, and just playing it throughout the day. So that's one way.
Yeah, and you know what? I do the self recordings now. I was in this women empowerment group, and they were saying how you should write a letter to yourself.
Hmm.
I'm gonna take it a step further. I'm gonna make a video to myself and tell myself how dope I am. Give myself a pep talk, because I'm not waiting for other people to give me my affirmations. I'm gonna speak them into myself. And whenever I'm down, I'll watch those videos. Like, okay, it's time to get up. Your purpose is not down there. Come on. Yeah.
That's so true. That's a good idea too. A video.
And it works. It works. And I said I'm gonna start posting these videos too. Like,
go ahead.
No, nobody else's opinion matters anyway. And that's what I'm trying to teach myself, because I've dealt with self-esteem issues as well. And the way I'm dealing with them is I'm taking them on like head on, like, okay, listen, you have an issue. You feel like, everybody is looking at you. So step out of the shadow and let everybody look at you. Who cares? There's something.
Hey.
Look, oh my goodness. But I just hate that it took me so long to get to this point, but what made me have to get to this point was literally kind of like taking it back to my childhood and trying to figure out, where did this come from? At what point did this negative chatter kick in? Because I don't believe that we're born with it. Like, I believe that, once, we get caught up in the ways of this world, that's when the negative chatter and other people's opinions are kind of pushed off on us. So you need to go back and have a conversation with the little girl, and then now y'all, come on, get it together.
Oh, yes. That was so amazing too.
Yeah.
In your book. Oh, that was so good.
And it was needed. When I say I feel so much better, it's like I'm a different person. Sometimes I have to, check myself like, hey, don't go.
Okay, I do want to say something. You said two things I wanted to elaborate on. You said it took you this long to get to the point that you are at. And a lot of us have that same conversation, like, oh man, it took me this long to understand this or to get past this. And that's okay. I feel like I give myself permission to be okay with where I am right now. And so, because everything prior to leading up to this point, you being on the couch doing interviews and writing your book and, up until this point, it took so much to get there. It took lots of lessons. You had to go through certain situations. You had to get a better understanding of who you were. And so I appreciate my age. I appreciate where I am right now. I appreciate all the things I've ever experienced in life because it only built character. And it built so much character. And then it built appreciation.
Absolutely.
So, girl, I commend you on that. And another thing you said is everybody, you used to feel like everyone was watching you. Listen, I have a true story about that. When I was little, we went to a restaurant. It was like a dine-in fast food restaurant. Me, my mom, my brother, and my dad. And this is how timid I was and very, I guess, just afraid, low self-esteem. So my parents told me to go throw the trash away, the tray in the trash. Girl, I was like, no. I said, I can't do it. And they like, what? I'm like, everybody's watching me. Like everybody. I actually grew up thinking that the whole world had their eyes on me, and it was so scary. So I was like I had to be extra careful about how I move and things like that. And then as I got older, I'm like, ain't nobody watching you? Like, ain't nobody watching you. And if they are, that's because they don't have a life of their own. So I take that concept now too as well. Yes, I still be like, okay, if I do this, then they may say, okay, rewind that. So what they may say, I'm still gonna do it. So, we have to continuously push through fear every single day because people and their opinions are gonna always be there, regardless. You do good, you do bad. They're gonna always say something. So I'm to the point, talk about me.
or let me give you something to talk about,
Hey,
See, I'm an interesting person.
Exactly.
Something to talk about. Pick a topic. Yes, wow. That is like, I definitely, on last week's episode, the topic was self-esteem too, but it was from a male's perspective.
Ooh, okay.
He touched on a lot of points, but one of the things that he said that resonated with me was, when people give their opinions, we don't really have to make that what we believe about ourselves. It truly their opinion. And I told him, I said, oh my God, you are really helping me right now, because in that moment I said, I go to the gym all the time. I don't think I'm fat, but when I say, oh my God, I'm so fat. Okay. So maybe that's why, I'm never consistent when it came to the gym, because I really didn't believe that I needed to be there. Fast forward, I know that, it's just practicing a healthy lifestyle.
Yes.
But at the
Right.
time, it was, I'm trying to get into these jeans,
Mm.
No, I'm just okay with every role,
Okay.
it's mine.
Okay.
Embrace everything about me, because if I don't embrace it, how do I expect anybody else to?
That's a word. Yes.
Man,
That's a word.
a word. That's,
Yes.
oh wow.
But what he said, that was really good. You don't have to take on everyone's opinion about you. That is so good, and that is so true. So for example, if someone was to say to you, your hips too wide, guess what? That's your opinion, right? I don't have to take that on. I don't have to wear that today. I can pick and choose. I like that.
Oh yes. Or my husband, he told me one day that, I shouldn't even be saying this, but we keeping it. He told me, he said, you walking around here acting like you are holier than thou, burning sage. You need to go smoke it because you're evil. And I'm like, I told him, I said, I don't claim that. That is your opinion. And
That's your opinion.
opinion. I said, you're the only person that think I'm evil. But it was like, I could have, really let that bother me.
Yeah.
And I can laugh about it now, but when he said it, I was pissed. But I had
Right. I know.
like, okay, he's the only person that will say something like that to me. Everybody, so maybe I need to check myself with how I am with him, because maybe he doesn't get to see the sweet, nice, maybe the person that he saw in that moment was that, but I still was like,
Mm-hmm.
your opinion, take that back, take it over there.
Right.
I'm not gonna oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Normally, we try to keep it between 15 to 30 minutes. So is there anything that you could give us signing before we sign off?
Mm-hmm.
Drop a jewel or a nugget to somebody out there that may be struggling with self-esteem and self-love.
Well, I'm gonna say this. You get one you. We come in this world by ourselves and we gonna leave by ourselves. If there's anybody you should be pleasing, it is yourself. And so do whatever it takes to make you happy first, and then everyone else can fall in line. Okay, so you gonna need that time to yourself. Take that time for yourself. Do the things that you enjoy doing, because what brings us happy is what brings us happiness is the things that we enjoy doing. So do more of that. In that you'll find happiness. Then you'll start to find, you know what, I am a cool person. And then you start to find those nuggets about yourself that you appreciate, and love on that. Appreciate that, embrace that, and watch how that grows until you having a better self-esteem and self-love.
Well, I don't have anything to follow up with that. That was like right on the nose. I definitely appreciate you
I
taking
appreciate you.
to sit and keep it real with me this afternoon. Thank you so much, Pew.
No problem. Thank you, Najiba, the beautiful Najiba.
Thank you.
No problem.